Good morning. This is the devotion. Psalms 45, verse 2. Thou art fairer than the children of men, grace is poured into thy lips. Therefore, God hath blessed thee forever. It speaks about Jesus Christ. He is fairer among the children of men. Grace is poured into thy lips. Grace was pouring from his lips towards everybody he met. And also in First Corinthians chapter 3, verse 10, according to the grace of God which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I laid the foundation, and another builder thereon, but let every man take how he buildeth thereupon. So Paul was talking about grace. He says the grace of God is what made him a church planter, and he was planting everything, doing everything with grace. I was thinking about what grace means to us. We require grace daily, and grace is emanating comes from the character of God, and it's given freely to each believer who requires it. And in Hebrews chapter 11, all the men who walked with God in faith, if you see their lives in Old Testament and everywhere, we can see that it was grace of God that made them whoever they wanted to be, and they completed the course. And they walked by faith, but they received grace from God. So grace is so unique. Noah found grace in the eyes of God, and we are also saved by grace. And God has given a spirit of God inside us, and He is a spirit of grace. Hebrews 10:29. And God the Father He's Father of all grace. He's the God of all grace. And Jesus Christ, Titus 2:11 speaks about grace was revealed to us, Titus 2:11. And as we come every day towards God, and He has a throne of grace, and He's ready to give us grace and help in time of our needs. So grace is so unique. We need to walk by grace. Unless we learn to receive grace and give grace and walk in grace, and unless we learn to do that, we may not be able to walk as Christian, because somewhere or the other we're going to fail, or we're going to offend somebody, and we have to receive grace, give grace to others. So, and grace is our strength. Second Corinthians 2:12-9. Grace gives us strength, and we walk in that grace. And grace also helps us to deny ungodliness and worldly lust. So, different between a man who is consistently walking and a man who stops walking as he stopped receiving grace. So, Peter said, grow in grace and knowledge of who Jesus is. So, we have to grow in grace, knowledge of every day. There are times when we suffer and we receive grace, and we understand grace in a new way, in new season of grace God is going to give us. And Jesus also said, come unto me, all you labor and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. And it's less rest because He's graceful. He will give us rest, and that's so true. So grace is what God offers to us on a daily basis, and also our giving, what we give to God, offer to God is done in grace. Second Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1 and 6. So I would say this: God help us, and He will always help us because He is graceful, and He will teach us, He will lead us, He will guide us. Grace will always be poured from the lips of Jesus Christ, and He was full of grace and truth, and He will never deny Himself. So, God is going to perfect what concerns us. I love grace because all these years I can only say and affirm this: God was graceful in whatever He could do and what He has done. It's because of His grace. So this morning, receive His grace and don't carry any heavy burden on your chest, and but receive grace, and He will do what He wants to do. So grace is poured into our lips. And Paul said, as a wise master builder, and he realized it, that it was grace of God. What he said, what I am is because of grace of God. And he walked in grace, and he knew it was grace of God that will do it. And in our life also, God will finish everything in grace. And just don't stop receiving grace any moment. Failure, rise up, walk, receive grace, walk, and and God is ever graceful to us, and His grace and mercy will follow us all the days of our life. So just receive grace, live in grace. Thank you very much. Thank you.